lesson 1-1. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, for this lesson, what we're working on is evaluating algebraic expressions and variables and expressions. How do we write them out? Okay, so if I have something like n minus 5, and two other ways we could say this are 5 less than n. Okay, now notice the order. It's 5 less than n. It's not n less than 5. If you write it in the wrong order, you could get the wrong answer. Another way we could write this is also by saying n decreased by 5. Now, even though it does say n take away 5, n take away 5 is kind of an elementary way of saying that statement. So we want to make sure that you're using the higher vocabulary when answering these types of questions. Okay, let's try another one. What if we have something like f over 3? Well, one way we could write that is the quotient of f and 3. And again, notice the order. Okay, you want to make sure you have them in the correct order. And of course, on this one, the most simplest way to say it would be f divided by 3. So that is academic language on this one. So it's okay if it does sound a little bit simple. Just make sure that you are trying to use some of the higher vocabulary in these as well. All right. One more, sort of like this. We can actually look at some that came off of your homework real quick. Something like 2 and t. Well, whenever you see two sets of parentheses together, that always means to multiply. So one thing we could say is 2 times t, but again, that's kind of elementary, but it's still a valid statement, so I'll go ahead and keep it. 2 times t. But if we were to use the higher academic vocabulary, we might say something like the product of 2 and t. Okay, so now if we are going to look back at our lesson, we also notice that we have a couple other types of problems. Problems such as substitution type problems. Let me give you an example. If we had A take away C, and I told you that A equaled 3 and that C equaled 2, well, what you would do is simply substitute in A and substitute in C. So you would get, instead of A, you'd get 3, and instead of C, you would get 2. The next thing you would do is the actual operation. So just go ahead and solve that. 3 take away 2 is going to give me 1, and 1 would be your final answer. All right, let's try one where we have something like 3y. And I'm telling you that y equals 4. Okay, again, a quick substitution. This is going to be 3, and I'm going to add some parentheses here just to show that I'm multiplying, because I know whenever a number is right up against a variable, it means to multiply. And so now, my last step is to do the actual operation of 3 times 4, which is going to give me 12. Okay, let's try another one. What if we have r divided by t? And I'm telling you that r equals 6. Oops, try that again. 6. And t equals 3. So if you put them in the correct order, r is now 6, divided by t is now 3. Okay, my next step is to do the actual operation, which is to divide, and my final answer I would get here is 2. Okay, now let's look at maybe a problem that you might have on your homework. So let's try this problem, where we would have r take away t, and r equals 8, and t equals 5. So again, swap these out or substitute them. So we have 8 take away 5. Do the actual operation. 8 take away 5 gives us 3. Well, that's 1-1, and I hope that helps you with your homework.